Here we are, happy summer, rounding out June and headed to July, and that can mean just one thing. You're right, welcome to the Price Group's monthly market update for the Greater Louisville area housing market. Hello, my name's Emily Price. I'm with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective, and today I'm going to be walking you through 5 key metrics of things you're going to want to pay attention to when you are wanting to keep your finger on the beat of the Louisville housing market. So jump right on in with me. Let's go. We're going to take a look at the metrics such as how long is it taking homes to sell in today's market in Greater Louisville? What is the average sales price here as we head into July of 2026? Just what are those interest rates looking like? And exactly what is the absorption rate? And we can't have a monthly market update without also looking at just how many choices are there for sale in today's market. That's called the inventory. So here we go, dive in with me. We're gonna hit each of these 5 key points that's important for you to know when you are paying attention to the Greater Louisville housing market. Okay, so first things first, when we're looking at a housing market update here in Greater Louisville, Kentucky, what we're gonna look at first is we are going to take a look at how long it is taking a property to go from for sale to contract accepted. So in real estate, that's called days on market. So what is the average days on market looking like for the Greater Louisville area today as we wrap up June of 2026 and we head into July? Well, today we are right at an average of 55 days on market. So again, that means from the time that the house launches onto the MLS to the time that the seller accepted an offer, on average, it's taking 55 days, which is a little shy of 2 months. Now, where were we this time just 4 weeks ago? We were almost exactly the same. We were at 54 days. So 54 days 4 weeks ago, 55 days today. It's basically the same. It's taking a little under 2 months on average for a seller to go from for sale to contract accepted. Now, how does this compare to the start of the year? Let's keep in mind that when we talk about the start of the year, we're talking about that first week of January. So arguably that's a holiday week. We want to keep that in mind. Yet at the top of 2026, we were sitting at 98 days, just a little over 3 months. And today we're a little under 2 months. Now, what I really love to look at is how does the trend right now, the data right now, compare to where we were at exactly this exact week in time last year in 2025. This is where it gets interesting. In 2025, we were moving considerably faster. It was only taking 36 days to go from for sale to contract accepted in this week of the 2025 calendar. Now, fast forward exactly 1 year later, we are at 55 days on market. So we're seeing it take almost 20 additional days this year than it did last year at this time as we go from June to July for a seller to go from for sale to contract accepted. So as we're taking a look at our monthly market update as it pertains to the Greater Louisville, Kentucky housing market, we do know that days on market are on the upward trend, meaning that this year in 2026, as we round out June and go into July, we are at a higher days on market count than we were this time last year. So it's taking a little bit longer for properties to sell. So the next question we want to ask ourselves is, well, then how is that impacting the average sales price? So the average sales price today in Greater Louisville sits at $375,989. So if we round that up, we're going to call that $376. That's the average sales price here at the end of June for all of the Greater Louisville area housing market. Now, how does that compare to where we were 4 weeks ago as we were rounding out May and going into June? Guess what? It's significantly higher right now in just those last 4 weeks of measuring today versus 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, we were under 350. We were specifically at $346,225. So there has been quite a bit of growth in the past 4 weeks when we look at average sales prices that sellers are getting. Now, how does that compare to the start of the year? Well, at the top of the year in January of 2026, it was a bit lower. We were at $329,454 as an average sales price. So if we just look at 2026, January was here, the end of May was here, and now the end of June is a little higher, okay? So that sales price is trending up. That's zesty in the favor of the seller. Now, what does that look like in comparison to where we were this time last year? So keep in mind that this time last year, houses were selling 19 days faster on average than they are right now. So this time last year, in the summer of 2025, the market was moving faster. Here in the summer of 2026, the market has slowed just a bit, but by slow, we know that it's still taking less than 2 months for a home to go from for sale to contract accepted. So just how much, drumroll, has that impacted the difference in the average sales price between the end of June of 2025 and the end of June in 2026? Well, I'm here to tell you. Guess what? It's still up. Even though it is taking a bit longer for houses to sell, real estate is still cooking. That average sales point is still up. So this time last year, we were sitting at $372,042. So let's round that and call that 372. And again, today we're gonna round it and call it 376. So that's a slight breath up by just $4,000 on average. And from a percentage standpoint, it is slight. We are up 1.1% from this time last year. So it's still up. And yet, if you have been following along with me for quite some time, you know that I talk a lot about data and facts. And one of the pieces of data that I love to educate everybody on is that if you look at a 50-year trend, a 50-year history of our country, and you look at the trend line of how much property appreciates year over year, so how much that average sales price goes up, it's on average between 4% and 4.4% every year for our country. So let's note this. If we take the end of June of 2025 and the end of the end of June of 2025 and the end of June of 2026, we are still on the upward trajectory, and yet that pace, that tempo is slowing down. We're not up by 4%, we're up by 1.1%. So sellers, you're still doing great, and buyers, the property prices are still moving. So buyers, if you're wanting to make that move, you got to get into that market because the pricing is still moving as we want it to in real estate when it comes to everyone investing their money in real estate. And sellers, even though the days on market are starting to get a little bit longer, we still have a healthy momentum in that price point moving forward. Next up, we're going to talk about the amount of inventory. That means the number of homes that are for sale in today's market here in the Greater Louisville, Kentucky housing market. So when we're looking at inventory, we want to measure, what is the inventory doing? Is it going up or is it going down? And that tells us a lot about how the market is trending. Well, today, as we head into July of 2026, today we have, drumroll, a lot of choices on the market for buyers to look at, which means some healthy competition for sellers. Today we have 3,670 total properties for sale on the market in the Greater Louisville area. Now, that number doesn't mean much unless you can compare it with data points in and around our timeline, right? So 4 weeks ago, as we were headed into June and we were rounding out May, where were we? Well, we had a little bit less. We had, give or take, about 200 fewer homes. So we were marginally less than where we were today. 4 weeks ago, we had 3,473 homes for sale. Now, at the top of 2026, as we were entering January, we still had fewer. We were just above 3,000 at that point, 3,085. So let's pause and recap what we've seen the inventory do in 2026. January, 3,085. 4 weeks ago at the end of May, 3,473. And then today, as we're getting ready to crest into July, even up a little bit higher at 3,670. Now, that's interesting because as the inventory goes up, sometimes you would expect the average sales price to go down, supply and demand, right? However, what we see today is we see that while that average sales price is starting to steady, we really only see a 1% growth in terms of average sales price from today as to where we were this time last year. However, the inventory today as to where it was last year is drastically different. So specifically this time last year, the inventory was 2,872 choices. Today, 3,670. So let's underscore that point again. The inventory is seeing almost a 1,000 home increase here in the summer of 2026 as compared to 2025 in the Greater Louisville market. So inventory is just going up. Means more sellers are coming on the market, which means more competition for sellers, and it means more choices for buyers. So a lot of times when that is happening, you would expect to see the average sales price start going down. We're not seeing the average sales price go down. We're seeing it slow. So it has climbed from this time last year to today by just 1.1%. And usually, if you follow the 50-year trend line, we would see it climb by about 4 to 4.4% in 1 year. So it's climbing underneath the average trend line, and yet it's still climbing, even though the inventory is so much greater. So what does that mean? Well, it means we've got more sellers coming in the market that want to sell their houses. And it also means that the demand is more too. We have more buyers coming into the market. So overall, we have a steady flow of buyers, people who want to buy. We have a steady flow of sellers, people who want to sell. And the energy in the market keeps building. So if you're looking to sell or if you're looking to buy, we might very well right now be in that sweet spot where if you don't get into the market right now, it could be such that a couple months from now in my monthly market update, you're gonna be wishing you did. So today, if you're a buyer, you have 27.8% more choice than you did this time last summer. When you're following along with me, Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective each month for the Greater Louisville Housing Market Update, you know that one of the 5 key metrics I always look at is the interest rate. What is the interest rate doing? You guys, interest rate is a big metric to watch because it impacts both buyers and sellers. How does it impact them both? Well, you know how it impacts the buyer. Interest rate is the cost of borrowing money. So the higher the interest rate, the more it costs to get to borrow the money, the more that mortgage cost. The lower the interest rate, the less it costs to borrow the money. So this is why it is so important. A buyer, when they go to get pre-approved for a mortgage or they're planning their next house purchase, they're often looking at what they can or what they want to choose to afford in their monthly payment, their monthly housing payment. For most buyers, their monthly housing payment, they've got a pretty good fixed idea of what that number is going to be that fits within their overall personal or family budget. So if the number is fixed, the more that number has to go towards interest versus principal, well, then the less house that the buyer can actually buy. So the interest rate affects the buying power of the buyer. That's how it impacts the buyer. Well, how does it impact the seller? Well, as the interest rate goes up, the buyer can technically spend less money on principal because more of their monthly payment is going to interest. So as the interest rate goes up, buyers' buying power sometimes diminishes, and that in turn impacts the seller. Because the seller wants to sell for the highest price point the market will yield, and the market will yield the price point that the buyer can afford. So that's why interest rate is important. And also, the theme of the interest rate conversation in 2026 has not changed, and that theme is consistent and steady. That's the spoiler alert, yet I'm gonna still go ahead and break it down for you. So today, if you're looking at the average 30-year mortgage rate for our country, we're sitting right at 6.66%. The 15-year mortgage rate is a touch under that, not wildly underneath it, but under it at 6.2. Now, where were we this time 4 weeks ago? You guys, we were basically exactly the same. 4 weeks ago, wrapping up May and headed into June, we were at 6.65% for the average 30-year rate, and we were at 6.23% for the average 15-year rate in our country. Now, let's compare that to where we were at the start of the year. Well, at the start of the year, we're still overall consistent. The start of the year did start a touch lower though. We started at 6.2% for the average 30-year mortgage rate, and for that average 15-year rate, we started at 5.74%. Now, You know what I'm about ready to say. My favorite thing to look at is the difference between this time last year and today. So when we were wrapping up June of 2025 in comparison to wrapping up June in 2026, what is the difference, right? So not much is the answer to that question. This time last year, the rate for a 30-year average mortgage rate was at 6.82%. Today we're at 6.66. We're about 0.2 of a point lower today. Still good, just not drastically different, right? And this time last year, that 15-year rate was at 6.04%, and today it's at 6.2%. So really a 12-month general energy of consistent and steady. And fun trivia fact for you. If you look at the 50-year average for our country when it comes to the 30-year mortgage rate, in the last 50 years, the average 30-year mortgage rate is 7.1. So see, anytime that you can lock a rate that is 7.1 or less, you can rest assured that right now that means you're getting the average rate or below average when it comes to the 50-year history. So again, today, going into July of 2026, that 30-year rate is a little above 6.6, and that 15-year rate is hovering at about 6.2. And as we round out our monthly housing market update as it pertains to the Greater Louisville, Kentucky housing market, I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. You know I hit on 5 metrics and we've already done 4, so I'm going to give you the quick recap. What do we know? We know that interest rates are holding steady. We know that days on market is climbing up. We know that inventory, the number of homes available for a buyer to choose from and the number of homes on the market that the seller competes with is also going up. We know that average sales price is also going up by a breath, but it's going up. So, wow, then what does that mean about the absorption rate? And the absorption rate is the metric I love to use that kind of ties it all in a bow. The absorption rate, academically speaking, is going to tell us, are we in a buyer's market, a stable market, or a seller's market? And the way it tells us that is it measures the months of inventory we have on the market. So you're like, Emily, what does that mean? I'm going to explain to you exactly what that means. Absorption rate says, let's pretend that no new sellers entered the market. Freeze, no more for sale signs in the yards, right? And absorption rate says, but hey, we're not going to stop the buyers. The buyers can keep coming into the market, looking at homes and writing offers and getting to accepted contracts at the rate that they have been. So sellers are going to freeze and the buyer energy is going to stay the same. If that were to happen, how long would it take for us to sell all the inventory that we currently have in today's market? That's the absorption rate. And what do we know about the absorption rate? We know that technically, if it's under 5 months, it's technically a seller's market. We know that if it's that 5 to 6 month mark, we're probably right in that groove of a balanced market and that never lasts long. And we know that if we're cresting 7 months plus, we are in a buyer's market, okay? So here's where we are today. Today we're at 2.52 months. So hear me on this. Days on market are up. Average sales price is slightly up. Interest rates are steady. Inventory is up. And we are still at a 2.52 month absorption rate. That means that while the sellers are climbing, so are the buyers. It's almost looking as if we're kind of running right in lockstep with one another, sellers and buyers. Again, lots of great energy in this market, and when that interest rate is steady, it gives everybody some confidence, right? It's a great market to be a part of right now. Now, 2.52 months, again, is just a random pin in the middle of a timeline if you don't know what that compares to. So let me shed some light on that. 4 weeks ago, as we were entering June, we were basically at the exact same absorption rate at 2.55 months. All right? Now, at the top of 2026, we were just a little bit up at 2.85 months. And this time last year, we were a little faster, not by a huge amount, marginally, we were a little faster at 2.15 months. So when you look at this past 12-month history, when we go summer of 2025 to summer of 2026, we are staying right in that 2 to 2.5 month absorption rate, and that is steady. So sellers, you're having steady, predictable, great outcomes. And buyers, you're also having great outcomes. You've got plenty of houses to choose from, and you've got a steady interest rate that you can count on. So the absorption rate is staying nice and even. Make sure you follow along with me month after month after month. I'll be here every month showing up for you, letting you know just if and when that Louisville absorption rate is going to change. You know, I'm a real estate agent, Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. Yet myself and my team, we think of our career as much more than that. A real estate agent helps you when you're in the middle of a transaction. Yet what we do is we work as real estate consultants. So we're here to help you in the transaction, of course, and yet we are truly here to be your resource, your point of knowledge, wisdom, and expertise in all the years in between as well. So we know that if you're buying a home for your family, it's going to serve as your home. And we also know that it's going to serve as probably one of your largest, if not your largest, investments that you have in your whole portfolio. And because of that, we believe passionately in taking care of you, not just in your move, and yet in all the years in between. And one of the ways that we do that is you can count on us to deliver dependable, timely, accurate data to you in a way that makes sense. So you know exactly how the market is performing and how it impacts your investment, which is the property that you own, whether you are in your personal season of buying or selling, or you're just in the years in between. Be sure to hit the subscribe button right now if you haven't already. If you're thinking about buying or selling now, if you believe you'll be a buyer or a seller in the future, and or if you own property today, you cannot afford to not follow along with me month after month so that you too are informed and wise with exactly how the market is moving. Because when we pay attention to how it moves, we can come to understand what we expect, and then we better understand how the investment of your real estate is performing for you. And then you're better equipped to have greater clarity to make decisions you feel confident about when it comes to making your next move. I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams Collective. We love taking care of you when it's time for you and your family to buy and sell, and we really love taking care of you in all the years in between. Hit the subscribe button right now so that you don't miss one monthly market update going forward.